Once there was a young man named Ali who loved stories about where people came from. Not just any stories, but the big ones. About family trees that stretch back through time, like rivers flowing to the sea. In his village, these tales were called nasab, or lineage. They weren't just lists of names. They were maps of who you were, tied to history and faith, especially for those who followed Islam. Ali believed knowing your roots was a treasure chest of wisdom. It wasn't enough to say, "This is my family," and leave it there. You had to dig deeper like a scholar hunting for clues. And the most special family tree of all, the one belonging to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the heart of Islam itself. One day Ali sat with his friend Pak Edi, a kind man who knew a lot about Nasab. "Thank you, Pak Edi," Ali said, "for helping me understand this. It's so important for us Muslims, no matter where we're from." Pak Edi smiled and nodded. "It's not just a story, Ali. It's our mirror. It shows us who we are." But here's the thing. Ali didn't want to just hear the story and nod along. He wanted to know it, really know it, with his mind and heart. He thought about the Prophet Muhammad's family line. People said it went all the way back to Prophet Ismail, son of Abraham. But some folks, even outside the village, whispered doubts. "Is that true?" they asked. "Did Muhammad really come from Ismail? Was he even real?" These questions buzzed in Ali's head like curious bees. He didn't get mad or shout. Instead, he decided to search for answers, calm and steady. "If we're going to tell the world about our prophet," he said to Paedi, "we need proof. Not just our words, but words from others too. Old papers from his time." So that night, Ali and Paedi sat under the stars with a pile of books and scrolls. They weren't just looking at Muslim tales. They wanted voices from far away, beyond their own circle, words from people who lived when the prophet did. First, they found a story from a man named Sophronius. He was a monk from Jerusalem, born in 560 AD, before the prophet came into the world in 571 AD. Sophronius wrote until he passed away in 638 AD, just after the prophet left in 632 AD. That meant he was alive at the same time as Muhammad. His words were like a bridge to the past. Sophronius wrote in Greek, not Arabic, so his story wasn't from inside the Muslim world. He talked about people called Saracens, Ishmaelites, and Hagarenes. "Who are they?" Ali asked, leaning closer. Pak Edi explained, "They're names for the same folks, descendants of Ismail, son of Hagar, tied to Abraham's line. Sophronius saw them with his own eyes." Ali's heart jumped. "So he's saying there were real people back then, connected to Ismail?" Pak Edi nodded. "Yes, and the prophet was one of them. Sophronius didn't call him by name, but he wrote about his people, right when Muhammad lived." Next, they found another tale, this time from Saint Theophanes, a monk born years later, around 758 AD. He wrote about a man named Muhammad, calling him a leader of the Saracens, those same descendants of Ismail. "He says Muhammad was real," Ali said, eyes wide. "Not a made-up hero, but a person from a famous tribe, the Quraysh." Theophanes traced it back. Muhammad came from the Quraysh, who came from Mudar, who came from Nizar, who came from Ismail, who came from Abraham. "Look at this," Ali exclaimed. "It matches what our own books say, like Sahih Muslim. Allah chose the Quraysh from Ismail's line, and Muhammad from the Quraysh." Paedi leaned back, thoughtful. "Inside our faith, Sahih Muslim is enough for us to believe. But for the world, we need these outside voices like Sophronius and Theophanes. They're not Muslim, but they saw the same truth." Ali felt like he'd found gold. The prophet's nasab wasn't just a family tale. It was a thread woven through time, seen by others too. "What about Ubaidillah?" he asked, remembering another name people doubted. "Some say he's fake too." Paedi chuckled. "Same rules, Ali. We check the facts. If we can find proof for the prophet, we can do it for anyone. It's about reason, not just faith." As the night grew quiet, Ali looked at the stars. "So, our roots are strong," he said softly. "We've got stories from inside and outside, old and true. Now we can tell the world and ourselves who we really are." And with that, Ali closed the books, ready to share the tale of the prophet's lineage. A story not just of names, but of a real man whose roots reached deep into the earth, proven by voices from long ago.